back to another video. I'm very excited to be here because we're taking a look at some more Godzilla figures. It is Godzilla month. The month of April is all Godzilla. So I am very excited to get into this review because this one's a special one. Because we are taking a look at the new Godzilla X Kong, the new Empire figures. These are the ones by Playmates, so no Hiya Toys, sadly. Mainly because those haven't come out yet. I do have some pre-ordered, but they haven't released because it's going to be a good couple months till they actually come out, so that kind of sucks. But we do have some pretty good figures. I think Playmates did a decent job with them, but we're going to be taking a look at them and giving our opinions when we actually see them. But we're not looking at just one single figure. We're not looking at two. We're not looking at three. We're looking at 4 different figures by these guys. It's going to be fun. I'm very excited, and I just kind of wanted to come on here for the first probably 5 minutes of this entire video and just kind of talk about the movie. So the movie came out. I went to go see it. I was very excited, so I got myself this little thing right here. This is actually one of the cups that the movie comes with when you go see the movie. They do come with popcorn buckets. They come with the cups as well. I didn't get the popcorn buckets because that was like $30, $40. So I went for the cup because this one was like $18, I think. It's not any better, but I wanted the cup because the cup looks absolutely sick. And it comes with this little Godzilla figure, which is really dope. I'm actually really happy to have a little Godzilla figure on there, which we could probably take a closer look at when we get to it. But I love this cup. I love the movie. The movie was probably, I don't think it was my favorite MonsterVerse movie. From what I remember of my rating, which if I'm wrong, I'll probably have it right here or something. But if I can remember my rating system, it was King of the Monsters, 2014, Godzilla vs. Kong, and Kong. That was my list. So fitting X Kong into there, I think I would add it in second place. Or maybe third, since 2014's there as well. So I think it would go in third place, then Godzilla X Kong, then Kong, not Godzilla X Kong. So here we go. It would go Godzilla King of the Monsters, Godzilla 2014, Godzilla X Kong, Godzilla vs. Kong, then Kong. That's pretty much my whole ranking of that list. I really enjoyed this movie. It's definitely a fun one to watch. I highly recommend you guys go watch it or definitely watch it whenever you can. It's fun. It's a fun movie. It's not as I guess as serious. It's very monster bashy. You know, it does have that kind of feel like the old I would say maybe Heisei, not Heisei, the Showa era of Godzilla with you know, there's just a bunch of monsters fighting around. They do funny things sometimes. It has that kind of feel to it. But honestly, I enjoyed it. It was a fun movie to watch, you know. The monsters on screen, they took up pretty much half the screen time, really. You know, the humans got their time to shine a little bit, but it was not as much as the monsters, which is really cool. And that was a lot of people's kind of complaints. And one of mine as well, like, we need more monsters than humans, you know, add the humans because, you know, you might as well, but more monsters really. So we got the monsters, we got the humans. My only problem with this movie, because there's a lot of good things about this movie, but my only kind of problems with is it was very Kong focused. Like, this was Kong's third movie, you know, because he had his whole entire movie. He had his big time to shine in Godzilla vs. Kong, and this was basically his movie. Like, this was all his movie. And it was an interesting story. I actually really liked what they did with Kong's story. But sadly, Godzilla pretty much got, like, not even that much screen time. He was there, he killed a monster, went back to Kong. Kong had like 20 minutes of screen time. It was Godzilla, did something, back to Kong. That's basically how it was until the very end when Godzilla comes back and he does his shit. So, you know, that was kind of my main problem. So I'm hoping when they come out with the new Godzilla movie, it's very Godzilla focused and it's all about Godzilla. I think they should separate their stories now because Kong's now in Hollow Earth, and King Kong or Godzilla is doing his thing, sleeping in coliseums, and that's just awesome. But yeah, that was pretty much my own problem, and also the human story. I didn't really care too much about the human parts. It was okay, but I was not as invested as I was with Khan's story. So it was decent. It was a good movie, and the monster fighting was dope. Skar King as a villain was really awesome. Shimo, one of the two. It's one of the two names. Was awesome as well. Wasn't really a villain, but it was a pretty good, I guess, adversary to Godzilla while Kong fought Skar King. And it was pretty dope. It was pretty dope fighting overall. The visuals were really stunning. Even though this was like the lowest budget movie, I really couldn't tell like this was a very low, like I couldn't tell. It was beautifully stunning. I love the colors. They popped a lot. And especially Godzilla. God, Godzilla was awesome. So Kong got his upgrade with the Power Fist. We've seen that many times with the figures and stuff. But Godzilla had the biggest upgrade, and I absolutely love it. A lot of people don't like it. I personally love it. It's so cool looking. I love the pink. It is so awesome. I loved it so much that I got a tattoo of it. It's that good to me. You know, it was awesome. So I just had a blast with Godzilla when he fully upgraded to that whole pink look. It was awesome. It was amazing. And yeah, it was dope. It was really, really dope. So overall, the movie was awesome. If you want to see kind of like a full review of the movie, it's on my Instagram, which I'll have up here. And I also have another Instagram to kind of just talk about toys and stuff. So I'm plugging those two right now just because. And I also do have a Godzilla shirt, which has the Godzilla from the newest movie, because it's just such a cool design. I love it. So I hope when they make the new Godzilla movie, they stick with this design and he just goes all out. That would be awesome. But yeah, we're talking about figures right now. So the movie was pretty dope. I really liked it. So we have 4 different figures, so we might as well get right into it. We have spent 8 minutes just talking about random shit. So let's get right on to the actual review, starting now. So the first thing I'm going to show is the cup. Why? Because I paid like almost 20 bucks for this, so of course I'm going to show it. But we bought ourselves the Godzilla cup from the movie theater. This is from like the AMC theater exclusive cup, which is actually really cool. It looks awesome. I am actually really happy that I got it because it looks cool. And what's kind of cool is that when they gave it to me, they also gave me like a large drink cup, which is kind of cool because I didn't really want to put liquid in this, but you know, it's whatever. What's cool is that the inside is pink, but what's the cool part is it comes with this little figure, which you just kind of place on top of the actual cup, which is really neat. At first, I actually thought this was like the those crystal mystery minis, and I thought that they just used that to put on the cup, but that's not the case. They actually have a unique design, which I'm very happy about, but also kind of sad because it would have been cool to add like, you know, mix and match with some other little things, but I think it just fits better with the exclusivity. Is that how you say that? Is that a good way to say that? I don't know, but it looks really dope. Kind of comparing it to like the little one, it's pretty much almost the same size. Not really. It's pretty big, but it does look really dope. It's a nice little statue piece, and as you saw, you can take it off with the actual stand as well, but the stand kind of has this weird little bump part, but he does stand pretty decently on his own. He is probably going to topple over, you know, forward, so that's the only sucky part, but he looks really dope. I actually really like him. I'd like to customize him just a little bit to make him a little bit more screen accurate, but honestly, the sculpt and all that looks awesome. I think the only weird part is this little buck tooth thing going on here, and it just looks funny, but he is really nice. He is kind of made of a rubbery material, a little bit more harder plastic at the actual legs, which is nice. Dorsal plates are not sharp at all because they are plastic, but yeah, I just wanted to show you the cup because it looks cool, and I just thought it would be
nice to show you guys. But there's 3 different ones. They have the Godzilla one, which of course I was getting. They have a Kong one, which is pretty dope, and a Skar King. Wish they had a Shimo, whoever, whichever. I'm saying Shimo. That sounds a little bit better. But they both had, they had those ones, but they didn't have Shimo, which kind of sucks because it would have been cool to have a cup like that. I would have probably bought hers, but yeah, this is the Godzilla cup. So now we got to move on to the actual figures, which we have 4 different figures to look with you guys. But we're going to start off with 2 of the smallest figures that we got, and we're going to take a look at Shimo a little last. We're going to take a look at the Skar King. So first of all, packaging. The packaging actually looks pretty dope. You got Godzilla and Kong right there, Skar King with whiplash. It's very odd. Just call it a whip, but it's interesting. You got Godzilla and Kong on the side. You got Skar King again with some crystals. You got this very nice pink look to it, which I think is really cool. And the nice Godzilla X Kong, the new Empire. Very interesting name. Just X Kong just sounds very odd to me. And also, it honestly wasn't really an empire, to be honest. I mean, there was, but it just... Empire just sounds huge, and it was just kind of like a small colony of apes, but I don't know. It is just a weird title to me. But this is pretty cool. It does show some of the other figures as well. You got Godzilla with the heat ray, Godzilla Evolved, Suko. Is it Suko? Suko with Titan's Doug, which is kind of cool because I like Doug. I have him as like my little Call of Duty keychain in Warzone. Pretty dope. You got Kong with the Beast Glove, which is pretty nice. And then you got Shimo with the Frostbite. Then you have some information about the characters, which you can pause and read if you want. And you could get a nice image of the figure itself, which I think looks pretty nice. Nothing at the bottom. You kind of just see a little bit of the whip in action, but I'm going to be showing you guys that. You don't need to look at that. But the packaging is very nice. I actually really like the pink because it's just... Pink has just become one of those colors that I actually really like now, just because of Godzilla having the colors, because I think it looks so dope on him. So here we have the Skar King, the first figure in our huge unboxing wave. And I think he looks really dope. I think they did a fantastic job on this figure. And sadly, I don't have the regular size versions of Kong or Godzilla, but I've heard that they did really good on Kong and Skar King. I don't know what they did. They just did beautifully on these figures, and I really do like it. They did a fantastic job with the sculpting, and the paint job is honestly not bad either. For $10, this is already like really worth it. Then it gets better because you do have a range of posability. But you can see he does have very nice detailing there. A lot of fur detail, which is pretty cool. He also does have his weapon, which is just popped off with the little ball joint right there, which is pretty cool. You can see that's what he looks like without it. He does have some posability, which he has the swivel at the head. He has the arm that can go out that far. He can do a full rotation. A little, I guess, a swivel. I pretty much was the rotation. He has the bend at the elbow. He has a little bit of swivel there as well. He does have the swivel at the wrist as well. He does have a very noisy, I guess, what is that, waist? That's not really waist, but yeah, it's like chest movement, I guess. I'm losing my words right now, but he does have a very tight swivel at the chest area, which is pretty dope. He does have a very interesting leg design. You can't spread them, but if you kind of move the legs out this way to where the hinge joint is facing that way, and you see like the little ball joint or the connectors there, you can kind of get it at a decent spread, but you can move it back and forth. You can also do the same with the knee. No foot detailing, which kind of sucks. But there are some actual figures. I don't know if Kong has it, but there's actually some figures that actually have a swivel at the ankle, which is pretty dope. But yeah, this is the Skar King, and if you want to add in his weapon, you pretty much just slide this into the only open hand that he has, and boom. There he is with the whip. It looks really dope, to be honest. I actually really like it. It is made out of very flexible material. It's not a bendy wire, which, it kind of likes to go back into its original form, but I think it looks awesome. This looks really dope, and you can pretty much hold it up in the air with no problem with the standing posability. I think that just looks really dope. I think they did a pretty fantastic job on this little monkey. I think he does look very nice with the whip on, which is easy to actually put on. But taking a look at the actual whip, it's not completely accurate. You could see that the whole, yes, the tip of the whip part is just out of this like jawbone. But in the movie, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think it was a jawbone. I think it was one of, it's a little spoiler right here. It was one of Shimo's crystals that helped helped the Skar King to command Shimo to do whatever he wanted her to do. So yeah, it's not completely accurate, but I think that would just kind of, I don't know. I think that would be like a too big a spoiler. So yeah. But it's still a really cool whip piece, and again, you can just pop it right back on, and it's very easy to put on, and I think it looks very awesome on him. There is a bigger version of this figure, but I think I'm just good with this little version. I hope Hiya Toys makes one, because it'd be awesome to have the whole Godzilla X Kong wave in the Hiya Toy form. And speaking of Hiya Toys, I actually have this one pre-ordered, but I decided to get it because Shimo's just so cool. But this is the Shimo Playmates figure, which I'm not going to show you the packaging, but she does come in different pieces. She's got her tail that is pretty much out like that, and she has a blast effect piece, which is pretty cool. But if you kind of want to look to see what the back looks like, there's that, and you can read the information about Shimo right there, which is pretty dope. I absolutely love the colors on this Shimo figure. I think they did a fantastic job on the way they did her. I think it has some really weird parts, like this whole torso area. It's very smooth, and then you get to like the head area, which is nice and detailed, and it feels like scales or whatever, and then you just get to the weird smooth part on the actual stomach area, which is just odd to me, but it still looks really dope. I think it looks nice on the shelf. The only other weird thing is like the legs and the back. I think they're kind of awkward to kind of get into the spot you want them in. But hey, it's not horrible. I think it works for like a, I think it works. It's definitely not great of a figure, but I think they did a very fantastic job with just the overall like look, because I think it looks awesome. Posability is not as good as Skar King, but it's very appealing to look at. It's just kind of hard to get the feet to flesh on the ground without one leg looking like it's kind of flying in the air or whatever. But here is the figure. I really do like that almost the blue spikes that are also transparent, and the white. I think that's a very nice color pattern. I think that's just, it's so dope looking. Another little complaint is like the spikes are really nicely done, and then you get to the tail and then it's just like, oh, it's painted weird. Okay, I don't care for that. We're gonna be seeing that with the Godzilla figure too. So, but I think they did the face very nicely. I think the face looks really good. I think they did a fantastic job with the actual figure. Oh my god. So yeah, the jaw does come on a hinge joint, which is actually really cool, but Jesus Christ, this thing goes way too far. It's hard to kind of get it into that nice position. I think this might be a little, I think that's perfect. I think that might be good enough, but any wider than that just looks weird. So I don't know, maybe about to there is fine. But then you have the blast effect piece, which is very nice. It looks like ice, and I think that's really cool. And pretty much you just stick it right into that little hole in the upper part of her mouth, and you just slide that thing right on in there, and there you go. I think the effect piece is not too bad. It just looks a little funny. Like, it just looks like she's just spitting water out of her face, and just like the side pieces make it look weird. And if you kind of like open her mouth, like make it look like she's actually, you know what I mean? It just looks weird. So almost wish they didn't do that, but hey, whatever. It still looks cool, I guess. It was a good idea, good attempt, but it wasn't the best idea. It was a nice try. I'll see myself out. So when it comes to like the posability, I did show you the mouth that opened like this far, which is weird. There's also a little tongue detail, which is interesting. I guess it's a nice little hint of color. But she does have her head that can go down this far and pretty much back that far. There's nothing much to it. It does have a swivel at the neck. Does have movement at the arms that can spread to about there. Also can rotate. That was a weird sentence. It also has a swivel at the ankle. A hinge joint, I guess. Or it's just like a normal little hinge. That's basically almost a hinge. That just goes back and forth with a swivel at the ankle, cannot go out, and then you have a ball joint at the tail. So posability isn't great, but I guess it's pretty much all you need with the Shimo figure. I think it's pretty decent, but yeah, it's a cool little starter piece when you're waiting on your Hiya Toys one, but yeah, I think it still holds up pretty nice. So now that we got these two guys out of the way, now we can move on to the actual Titan figures, Godzilla and Kong. Switch my hand motions around. There we go. So I think the first thing that we're going to do is, of course, take a look at both of their packaging. The packaging is pretty much the exact same as the smaller ones, except these ones are bigger ones, the giant versions. So they pretty much have the exact same kind of art and stuff, except on the back you have a big picture of Kong, which is pretty interesting. It's a actual picture of the figure, which the other ones were as well. And there's really no images or other promotional things about other products. It's just the picture of Kong with a nice little Kong logo right there, and a nice little picture of like the Hollow Earth. And it's pretty dope. You can see that there's just some more stuff, which I think is like on all the other packaging, but it's not too bad. And Godzilla's is pretty much the exact same way as well. Exact same packaging, except there's an actual picture of Godzilla on the back, which does look very nice. It has a nice blue look to it, and of course it does look like, it looks like more in the actual city. And from the looks of that, it looks like can't tell what that looks like, but that kind of looks like a little image of Shimo right there. It's kind of hard to tell, but I can tell there's like some kind of scaling thing right there, so I'm assuming that might be Shimo, but the packaging itself is not bad. So I think we're going to start this review off with the main character. That's pretty much Kong. Kong is basically the main character, but we'll pretty much look at them side by side just a little bit. But here is the actual figure of Kong. And I think out of all these figures, Kong is the best figure. And I do not have the little one, but he pretty much works the exact same way kind of Skar King is. He has very big amounts of posability. And some of that posability is lost on the big figure, because I do believe the mini scale version, the $10 version, has that waist swivel. But I think everything else that Mini Kong did have is still on this, except the waist movement, which kind of sucks. But this figure is awesome. Like, they did a fantastic job on this figure. The sculpting is absolutely beautiful, and so is the paint job as well. The whole look on the face actually looks very nice, and I love how they just painted all of it. It's very simple, but again, it's $10. You really can't complain that much. He does have the kind of metal glove, which they call the Beast Glove, which in the story standpoint, like talking about the story just a tiny bit, it's a very dumb way they introduced it. Like, it's definitely cool. Like, it's fucking awesome of this thing, but the way they get it is just so weird. Also, the face does look very nice. it has a little bit of inaccuracy for one of them. Spoilers. He doesn't have his silver tooth now, which that kind of is lame because he had like a toothache in the movie and they had to pull it like the fucking dentist. But it's still a really cool figure, and he's honestly really fun to handle. Like you can hold him and he feels nice. He feels the joints are nice and tight, and he just anywhere you put your hands on this figure, he just feels nice. I can't explain it that well. It's kind of hard to say with Godzilla, though, because he's got these enormous spikes, and it's just kind of awkward to hold him. But with Kong, he doesn't really have any of that, so he's just nice to hold around. But he does have some nice posability. His head can pretty much look up that far. He's got some downward, some swivel action, which is decent. He does have an arm movement that can go out that far. Full rotation, has a swivel at the elbow, has a nice bend. He has a swivel at the wrist. With this hand, he does have the exact same shoulder articulation, a hinge joint here, and no swivel at all, and no swivel at the hand, which makes sense. He does have no spread, but again, with the Skar King, he pretty much just has that same hinge joint action. You just kind of rotate the feet, but he can move his legs out. He has a hinge joint, and that's pretty much it. He does have some hollow feet for his hollow earth home. I don't know what I meant by that. It sounded stupid, but yeah, that's his posability. And honestly, for a big fig like this, that's like he's like 25, which for $25, honestly, I feel like he is worth it. I absolutely love the way this guy looks, and he's fun. He's fun just to have. It's fun just to have this giant ass monkey to have on your shelf. Now, as for Godzilla here, I hate to say it, but he's not as fun. He's definitely has a little bit more issues than I would like to say, so we're gonna try and kind of keep him in frame here. He's decent. I like the sculpt work. The sculpt work is very nice. I think that's like the best part about him. I love the spikes at the shoulder. All the dorsal plates are very nice, and I love the translucent plastic that they have on him. And the blue actually does look very nice, and I do appreciate some articulation, which we'll get into in a minute. But yeah, he looks very nice. But I think some of my least favorite parts is mostly just the way they painted it is just odd. The blue, like I said, does look nice, but it's not accurate at all, especially if you bring in the little cup. Yeah, that doesn't look like him at all. And this is kind of like the wrong shade of pink, but I still appreciate the translucent plastic. He has that same problem as Shimo did with the spikes being nice and clear, and then you move on to the end, and then it's just painted this weird, almost red salmon-like color, and it just looks so ugly, unlike Shimo, like this is like it's pretty ugly, but posability on this figure is very not existent that much. He does have the ball joint at the tail, only one segment. He has a hinge joint at the leg, a very tight ankle joints, which is pretty nice. He has some up and down at the arms. He has no waist. There's like a seam, so I thought there would be something. No neck articulation, no nothing. But he does have an opening mouth, so I guess I can give it that. The face sculpt is not great either. I mean, the eyes are painted decently. I don't remember what GVK was like with their figures. It's been a while since I looked at those, but I guess maybe this is fine. But it's just it's one of those things where it's like, it's cool for $25. I mean, it's dope. You get a giant Godzilla figure, but I mean, when you kind of take a look with Kong, it's like this one definitely feels worth it. This one, something missing about this one. I don't know if it's the paint job that just doesn't look right. I don't know, just the posability isn't as great, which is another big thing. I don't know. There's something about this figure that I still really like, but I just can't put my finger on what I really don't like. And it bugs me, because with Kong, I really like Kong. I like his articulation, and I like the way they sculpted him. I like the way they painted him. Maybe they could have included the actual uh, movement at the waist. That would have been cool. That's my really only complaint about him. But with Godzilla, there's just something about him that I just can't put my finger on, that I'm not feeling. But yeah, like I said before, he is very awkward to handle. The spikes are not sharp because they are like rubbery, but there's not a really fun way to hold him like you can Kong. Like you can like put Kong's arms out, hold him by the waist, but with Godzilla you can't really do that. But there's a nice little spot, maybe like here, which is like at the tail, and that's probably like the best spot. So you can kind of have them bashing each other and fucking each other up, scratching each other and shit like that. And that's pretty much that's yeah, that works. But I don't know. I like Kong more than Godzilla in the figure form that we have here. Not as a personal thing, because Godzilla's better, but that's pretty much it. So before I get onto the outro, these are all of our figures here. Very cool little figures for cheap amounts of money. I really did enjoy these figures. Another ugly thing that I just now noticed is these stupid little screw holes. That just looks weird and ugly as well. But at least with King Kong, the screw holes are on the back, so you can't really see them. But his is like all down the side of his body, so that just looks weird. Anyways, these figures are fun. They're a lot of fun. Even Godzilla. Like, I know I said my piece with Godzilla that I just don't really care for him as much. He's probably my least favorite figure of what I have here, but they're still really fun. I know that they're coming out with more. I heard a spoiler, all right, that Mothra's coming out because she was in the movie. And there's like a weird spider creature that Godzilla fought, like, I guess 10 minutes into the movie or something. I don't know. And I'm sure they might add more monsters as well. So Mothra is definitely one that I want to get, because I never had a Mothra figure before, so it's going to be pretty fun. I want to get the Hiya Toys one from King of the Monsters, but, that's going to be a while since I have my pre-orders in already. But yeah, this is pretty much what we got so far. So yeah, definitely stay on the lookout. I'm staying on the lookout for when they release Mothra. Hopefully that was a genuine leak and not like a troll or something. But it would be really cool to have a Mothra. So that's pretty much all I got so far. So we're going to head on to the outro, and I hope you guys enjoyed this little look on these figures. Literally was about to forget about this, but we got to do our rating system. We didn't do it for the last review, so we're doing it this one. So I think for the Skar King that he is dope. The painting is great, sculpt work great, accuracy. I mean, you can't really do much for a $10 figure, and that's kind of like before the movie comes out, but I'm sure they had enough reference material to get some stuff down. And for quality, I think the quality is actually really good. So overall, my opinion on this figure is a 4.7 out of 5. Now, Shimo, she is really, really dope. I actually really like the way that they did her. The painting is not bad. I really do like it, except for the tail. And, maybe it looks a little too plain, but again, $10 figure. Sculpt work, I think, is beautifully done. I think it's as accurate as you can get. Probably the most accurate Playmates figure that they've made. For accuracy, I think I did accuracy. I'm like speeding through this. Quality, I think quality is pretty dope as well. So overall, I think my scoring is a 4.5 out of 5. It's not as good as Skar King, but it's still really dope. Now on to our bigger figures. This one has to be my best, probably the best one out of the figures that I just looked at. I think that the painting work looks amazing. The sculpt work is awesome. For accuracy, for being like $25, and it's not like supposed to be super detailed. I think it works very well, and I absolutely love it. Quality on this figure is dope as fuck. So overall, this figure is getting a 4.8 out of 5. So close to being perfect, but still doesn't reach that like tip of the iceberg beautifulness of a figure. But I think out of all the Playmates, like Godzilla, Kong figures that I've looked at before, this one definitely is probably the top one. This one's definitely all the way up there. Now, this one's a little bit sad to talk about because I really didn't enjoy this one as much as I was hoping to. It's still a really dope figure. I actually really do like the way it looks. But you know, the painting is just something off about it. The red just looks, the pink is more salmon like, you know, it's got that salmon red color to it and it just doesn't pop. And that blue, and I mean, it's fine, but it's not accurate to the, you know, they could have just went a nice gray or something so close to what they did to this figure. I think if they did these colors for the figure, that would have been awesome. But you know, it's not completely awful accuracy. I mean, again, you get what you get for 25 bucks. So I think he's on the level of Kong, just not like super all the way there. For quality, I think the quality is very nice. But yeah, he just has some things that I just don't really care for. So you know, he was a little bit of a disappointment out of the whole wave, but you know, I still really like him. But I think he's going to be a 3.4 out of 5. The lowest of these guys, but I still really enjoy him, and I do appreciate the hinge joint at the mouth for this little dude.
And that was the entire video. I hope you guys did enjoy it. These guys are so cool looking. Of course, they have their problems, but I think that they're all really cool, especially this bad boy. I think he's really dope. But yeah, that's basically the entire video. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. This was a fun one to make. Like, I love these figures. Like, when it comes to the Playmates, they did pretty good with Godzilla and Godzilla versus Kong and King of the Monsters. It was a pretty decent job, but they peaked with these ones. I think these are better than the Godzilla versus Kong. I think these ones are definitely top up there, and I don't think I'm getting rid of these ones. So I hope you guys did enjoy this video. Again, if you guys have any comments about the movie or even about these figures, do let me know. And that's pretty much it. So without further ado, I bid you farewell. I will see you guys in the next review.